Hello and welcome to another Roaring Records tutorial. This time we are going to be adding percussion and a bass line to our Monologue projects, and I'm just going to show you some techniques that I would do in here and then set you free to work on your Monologue projects. So here's my drum kit. If you click on the drums, there's lots of kits to choose from. I've already pre-selected this Latin kit for a few things that it has to offer in it. These are some sounds that I'm going to use. So that's just a sampling of some of the stuff I'm going to do. So after you've selected the kit, you can either play on your typing keyboard and find the right notes that you want, or if you have some other device, you can use those. But here we go. Turn the metronome on. Make sure that we have a 1 bar count in. Here we go. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Well, as for naught, the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first. Okay, so there we go. We have now added a percussion track to that. You can get in and look at your piano roll and make sure everything comes out nice and accurate. I'm pretty happy with what happened there. So that's it. There's my sampling of a percussion project. Like, I would probably come in here and hit Command or Control. Command if it's Mac, Control if it's Windows, E. Split that so you could actually loop it out if you wanted to. Actually start the loop right there. That'll let you have control of your percussion. Here's that opening 3/2 clave lick, and there you go. That's the percussion part. Now, what I would do for the bass line. So I got this Gritty Rumble 808. If you want to check out different basses, again, you can click on the bass icon, come in here. Lots of different ones. I kind of like this Gritty Rumble. Let me give you a sample. Yeah, that's cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy and paste this whole chord idea that we did earlier, and I'm going to put it down here now on the Gritty Rumble. So there's copy and pasted. But I don't want a bass line to have all that dense harmony in it. Especially down low, it's going to sound weird. So I'm just going to solo this line for just a second. So here's what that would sound like. That's weird. That's not what we heard a minute ago. So first thing I would do is I would get rid of the other two notes in the chord. I want to leave the root note. If you think back to our snowman harmony days, the root note was the bottom of the snowman, and that's the note we want to keep for a bass line. So now I'm going to highlight all these. I'm going to note that this is on F3. So I'm going to drop this down to F2. That still really doesn't sound like a bass line. So I'm going to drop it all the way down to F3. Or F1, excuse me, F1. So now I've got them down in the bass range, and this is kind of what that sounds like. Take the solo back off. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and so that's a really cool bass line. I totally dig that. I think it could use some more rhythmic interest. So one thing I'm going to do is go in and provide some rhythmic diversity. So I'm going to do something like this. Now I'm going to switch to my pencil tool so I can add notes. All I'm doing is adding extra attacks so that that can hit more often and fill up more space. So here we go. Diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked. Okay, so there you go. That's got more interest. Now, that's using just the bottom notes of the chord. If you want to add even more interest, you can actually change the notes, and I would suggest you just like go up or down by one, depending on one or two, depending on what you want it to sound like. So I'm going to shorten this note, and I'm going to make what we call a neighbor note. So it's going to go up to its neighbor, and then it's going to come right back. And then this one's going to go down a neighbor, and then back up. This one is actually going to walk down. And then this one, let's see, we'll let it walk to. Okay, so now we've got a new line that sounds something more like this. Diverged in a yeah, that begins to work. I think that's actually kind of nice. The only one I heard that was strange was this. I think I can pull it down. One to here, pull down. There. To that matches this earlier thing. Seems to work better. Okay, so now I've got a pretty sweet bass line, and all I did was basically copy this one down to get my start on that. So yeah. There's a bass line, there's some percussion. Those are the things that we're looking for. Now, I will say right now, as I zoom out on that all of this is much louder than my vocal part. So I would want to go in and pull back on a lot of this to get a much more balanced sound. So let's see if this works better. Roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. So that's more a balanced sound, and again, you could tweak a lot on that, and we'll talk later in the week about how to add automations and those finishing touches. So hope you enjoyed, hope that made sense. Any questions, always, you know how to get in contact with me. Have a good week. Enjoy making some beats.